Welcome ladies and gentlemen for another video series on advanced tips concerning JavaScript. Today we're going to learn 5 additional tricks on top of the series of tricks I've been talking about. Let's go straight to our issue. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is the fact that there are 2 ways of declaring. Actually there's more than 2, but we're going to talk about 2 ways of declaring array. You can look at the screen on line 12. This is probably the way most people use, but from the line that follows you see that there's another way. We can just say new array. It's like an object definition, because in JavaScript arrays are actually objects. That's why this is very relevant. So if you see the 2 lines that follow, I alert the first array and then alert the second. You're going to see the first one is 1 2 3, the second array is 4 5 6. So if I go to our browser and alert it, you see this is the first array, and this is the second array. So take note of these 2 ways. Many beginners will not know about the second method, but that's 2 ways of defining arrays in JavaScript. The second thing we're going to talk about today is the fact that arrays in JavaScript can contain just about any kind of data type. Let's look at from our example. There is an array ARR on line 10 that contains a string, a number, another number. This is a special number in JavaScript, an object, even a function, and at the last a boolean. So here on line 12, if I display array of 3, the third element 0 1 2 3, it falls on the object. And I display the property, so it's gonna display John in this case. Now if I want to access the function, I can do like I did on line 14. We access the 4th element of the array, and then we put the function parenthesis, so it's gonna run alert hello. So if I run this code, you're going to see it's first of all going to display John, and then it's going to display hello. Let's get to it. John and hello. The third thing we're going to talk about is the different ways on how to loop into an array. Now there are many methods. I personally use 2 most often. The first 2 that we're going to talk about today, and then I'm going to talk about 2 other methods that I use occasionally. So the very first one is what everybody knows, how to loop an array. Let's look at our screen from line 15 here. For I is an index that's going to go through the array, starts from 0 and goes through till we reach the length of the array, and incrementally, let me put this on the console, we display every animal in our array. Animal of I represents the index here. So if I run the code, let me close this one. Okay, I refresh, so we can see cat, tiger, lion, rat, and panther, just like here. So let me comment this one, and let's go to the second method here, loop 2 here, and it's using the for of. That's how it's called, the for of loop. So let me comment this one. For let's declare a variable single that is going to represent every single animal in our animal array, and that's how a for loop goes. So it's going to assign, as it goes through the array, the animal array, going to assign each animal into the single variable, such that when we display the console.single, the console.log of single is going to display each animal. So as I refresh the page, you see the result is just about the same. Now the third looping method, we can see here from line 27. This is a special method that is used for objects, and since arrays are objects in JavaScript, so we can implement this on arrays. There's a special object dot value method for objects here. Now if I say object dot value and I give in an array, what happened? It's going to, or I give in an object if you want, because arrays are object, it's going to assign every value of that object into single. and now I can print single. So it functions just like the method above. just that it uses object.value, which is a special method in JavaScript to loop through objects. Okay, so if I just refresh our page, the result is very much the same. I can just display something here for test so that you are sure that we are at the right loop. This is just R. So if I refresh the page, you can see it's cat R, tiger R, lion R, rat R, panther R. So we are very much on the right loop. Okay, now the very last method we're going to use, let me make the screen very visible. Okay, now this is the last method here from line 32. Is the for in. Don't confuse it with this one, the for of loops through the values. Now the for in loops through the indexes. This is also used in objects. So same as in JavaScript, the for in loops through the indexes. So let me comment here. Let me comment this line here. Okay, now let's come to the for in. Let me uncomment here so that this will be the active loop. So what happened is going to loop through the animal array and collect the indexes, not the values, the indexes, and put into index. That's why I put a variable index, such that it's looping through the indexes, so we can display animal of each index. Let me put again this sample test here so that you are very sure we are at the correct line. Instead of R, let me just put TT so that you're sure that we are at the right loop. Refresh the page, you can see cat TT, tiger TT, lion TT, rat, and panther. So these are 4 methods on how to loop arrays. We know the normal for either starts at 0 and goes through the length, and there is a for of. We have the object of values. This one should be very special to JavaScript, and the for in. Ladies and gentlemen, the 4th thing we're going to talk about today is the fact that the length of an array is actually the greatest index plus 1. Let me explain. If you look at our screen, we have an array with 2 elements. This is the first element, which is a string, which is at index 0. This is the second one, which is at index 1. Now, from the look of things, the length of this array is 2. But if I add something like this, that is at I add something to the array at index 123, and on line 18 here I display the length of the array. Normally the array has 3 elements, but since we added this element on the index number 123, the length of our array becomes 124, surprisingly. So let me just refresh the page, and you can see I display the length is 124. So that's what happens in the background. The length of an array is actually, it takes the greatest index and adds 1 to it. So this was index 123 and adds 1 to it, and that becomes the length of the array. That's what happens in the background for JavaScript. Ladies and gentlemen, the last thing we're going to talk about today is the fact that the length property that we just mentioned on the previous point is writable. What do I mean? It's writable is that we can change its values. Now let's look at our color arrays. Color arrays is just an array of colors having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 elements. So normally the length of this array should be 6. Now you can see on line 13, if I change the length to 3, what's gonna happen in the background? Since it's writable, I just rewrote the length from 6 to 3. So it's naturally in the background going to shrink the array to 3 elements. So it's gonna be red, blue, and orange, such that on line 15, if I display the array here, now let me just refresh our browser so that you can see. If I refresh the array, this is the result below here: red, blue, and orange. So that's what you need to know, which means we can use this as a tactic. In order to empty an array, we can just rewrite the length to 0, and if I refresh the page, you can see down here it goes to 0. It's an empty array, length is 0. So there's a trick on how to empty an array. Just put the length to 0. Now, thank you for viewing this video. I hope this has been very informative, and we are going to continue with this series with the many tricks and flexibilities that JavaScript has to offer. Now, see, if you have been interested in my courses, you can subscribe, like, give a comment below on any particular matter regarding JavaScript you want us to talk about. And now, until then, have a nice day.